AI, it's been around forever, but not forever, but nobody noticed it until 2024.
Yeah, because it didn't really have a brain before that. Fundamentally and theoretically, it just did not have the brain power that it has today. ChatGPT was around 7 years ago, and we used to use that as a black box tool, like a hidden secret. Nobody knows about it. Is it going to replace my job? Is it not going to replace my job? I just tell people, rather than focus on what it might take from you, you should start embracing what it might be able to do for you. So I'm like, maybe I'm using AI too much, because if I sound like AI, that's interesting.
Well, it's scary because I know mine sounds like me. It knows me better than I know me.
AI and GEO is the future, and the goal is getting people visible and found within the AI platform. So just like SEO, but this is the new way people are searching now as we move forward to the AI world.
Your success or mind frame, it's based off of, if I were to put out the letters on where you put the space, NOWHERE.
Now here.
Is it now here or nowhere?
Exactly. It's now here.
This is the Clark Connection Podcast, where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Clark Connection Podcast, where we focus on leadership, personal growth, and helping you become the best version of yourself. Now, I'm your host, Aaron Clark, aka The Coach. I'm a leadership trainer, coach, and speaker. And this podcast exists to give you practical tools and real conversations that you can actually apply to your life and your leadership. Today's episode is one you need to pay attention to, because we're talking about something that is changing the game right in front of us, and that is AI, search, and the future of how people find information. Now, before we jump in, I want to take a moment to shout out the sponsors of the show. The Clark Connection Podcast is powered by Coach Clark Leadership and Development. We help organizations develop leaders who multiply leaders through live training, executive coaching, and cultural strategy. And if you want to grow alongside other serious leaders, join our Leadership Multiplier School community. It is a space built for intentional leadership growth, connection, and accountability. Learn more at CoachAClark.com. This episode of the Clark Connection Podcast is proudly brought to you by Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership, growth, and success all start with a strong foundation, but the details matter too. Vicki and her team don't just specialize in high-quality flooring. They also offer Hunter Douglas blinds, bringing both function and design together in one place. Whether you're building, renovating, or upgrading a home or business, Hubbard Flooring Studio helps you create a space that reflects quality, intention, and excellence, from the floors you stand on to the light you let in. Now, if you're ready to work with people who care about craftsmanship and getting it right, visit HubbardFlooringStudio.com or call 225-924-1582. Hubbard Flooring Studio, covering you from the ground up. Shout out to Steadfast Electric for supporting the show. When your power needs to be reliable, not just good enough, Brian and his team deliver safe, dependable electric work for homes and businesses. No shortcuts, no guesswork. Learn more at steadfastelectric.com or call 225-457-7957. Steadfast Electric, reliable power done right the first time. I want to recognize Bobby with the Comfy Quest LLC for sponsoring the podcast. Bobby specializes in craniosacral therapy, a highly specialized form of body work. This work helps the body release deep tension, regulate the nervous system, and truly reset. To learn more or book a session, visit massagebook.com/acomfyquest or call 225-773-0307. A Comfy Quest. Specialized craniosacral therapy for a real nervous system reset. A big thanks to Automate Integrate Professional Services for backing the show. Andrew helps businesses simplify, automate, and integrate their systems so leaders stop wasting time on manual work and start focusing on growth. Visit automate-integrate.com or email Andrew at automate-integrate.com. Automate Integrate. Systems that work so you don't have to overwork. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Bob Smith, chiropractic internist, for sponsoring today's episode. Dr. Bob focuses on identifying the root cause of pain and dysfunction, not just covering up symptoms. If your body isn't performing the way it should, this is the kind of care that looks deeper. Learn more at brspine.com or call 225-291-2626. Dr. Bob Smith, finding the root cause, not just chasing symptoms. Thank you so much for your support. This show would not be possible without you guys. And also, that if you've not already connected with me, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at coach_A_Clark. And if you hadn't done it, go ahead and subscribe. Like, subscribe, follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you're getting value from this podcast, share it with somebody who needs it. All right, let's get into it. Today, I'm joined by Dustin Myhaver, the CEO and co-founder of TruScaler. He is an entrepreneur and an innovator who has gone from the world of SEO into what he calls Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. In this conversation, Dustin breaks down how AI is reshaping search, what that means for businesses, and how you can actually use tools like ChatGPT in a way that is practical, whether you're in business or in education or just trying to stay ahead of the curve. If you've ever wondered how to make AI work for you instead of feeling like you're falling behind, then this episode is going to give you clarity and direction. Let's dive into my episode with Dustin. And Dustin, welcome to the show.
Awesome, Aaron. Thanks for having me, brother.
Oh, my pleasure. Pretty excited about this. I know we're just kind of getting to work with each other and getting to know each other as we go along. But I got to know, you're the owner, the founder of TruScaler. What is TruScaler?
That's a loaded question, man, but I'll give you the short version. TruScaler is a startup company that has taken off here in 2025 and 2026 with the main goal. We sell everything digitally. So it's a digital agency first and foremost, but we specialize and have specialized in SEO for the last 17 years. But now we specialize in this new gold rush of the 2026 digital era, Generative Engine Optimization. And that's really what we're focused on, all in on, and trying to lead the front lines on in 2026.
Okay. So you said Generative Engine Optimization.
Generative Engine.
You're going to have to put that into layman terms for all of us non-smart people.
Yep. That's the big question. So you got the acronym GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, stems from SEO, Search Engine Optimization, which has been around for the last 20 years, which is SEO gets people found on Google. And now we have this thing AI, and GEO is the future. And the goal is getting people visible and found within the AI platform. So just like SEO, but this is the new way people are searching now as we move forward into the AI world. So yeah, simply put, 20 years we've been dealing with Google, a list of 12 websites. Now we have Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, Claude, Copilot, ChatGPT. And as we look at the data this year, we see 30 to 40% of people shifting from Google to an AI platform. So we're trying to lead the way on getting people found.
Yeah, and it's quite a lot of people. So I was at my grandmother's 90th birthday party. And so I was talking to my brother-in-law, who's a welder. I said, hey, when you need to look up stuff for whatever it is that you're doing, how do you go look it up? He's like, Bro, he said, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't touch Google. I don't touch nothing. I get on ChatGPT because I don't want all the fluff. Just give me the answer to my question. And that's what it does. He said, I love it. He was like, ChatGPT, where it's at. Everybody in our industry uses ChatGPT. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, we ain't Googling nothing. We don't use YouTube. It'll take us there if we need it. So definitely the thing to go and look at and do all that. Now, how did you end up getting like where you are? Like, how did you end up with TruScaler? Like that's the, the $1 million question everybody wants to know. How did you get where you are?
Yeah, there's a lot of backstory here. And we'll talk a little bit about this company called Intuitive, which one of my best friends and another good friends has owned for the last 12 years now. I started out doing SEO in the newspaper industry in like 2007. When the acronym was still being figured out by people, I was selling square ads in the newspaper. This guy reached out to me out of nowhere and said, "Hey, do you guys know what SEO is?" I was like, no clue what this is. But I got a pretty good idea, get people found on Google. And he said, well, love to partner with you guys. So at this time, I'm just a sales executive on the front lines of digital with newspapers back in the day, trying to figure out how to put newspapers on the market, basically bringing a digital footprint for these guys before newspapers knew what digital was. And so this guy took me under his wing. We started selling the product to some of our clients, outsourcing to this guy. And he slowly became my mentor. And then all of a sudden I realized, wow, this is actually the future, selling paid ads on Google, selling display ads on websites, been doing that for a few years, but then kind of fell in love with this product right away. As soon as this guy and I started getting together, pitching a few clients, saw the interest of it. And then I kind of never looked back. So 7 years of the newspaper industry, working with my mentor with the newspapers. And then I actually realized that, hey, the newspaper industry has no idea what's going on here. I think I'm going to go try and do this myself. And so my mentor actually helped me 1099. So I left the newspaper. A couple of weeks went by. They called me back and said, thanks for leaving us, but you kind of left us high and dry. And so I said, well, we could still work together. So actually my company that I worked for became my first customer. And my mentor and I were handling them. We were also working with other newspapers, direct clients here in Denver, Colorado. And I grinded that out through COVID. But during COVID, I guess the first anomaly happened, the change of the path, which is prior to this, after leaving the Denver Post, my best friend, Ryan Christensen, the owner of Intuitive, left a couple months after me. And he came to me and said, hey, I'm going to Vegas to start this big digital company. And I said, what? This is crazy. I don't know. And he's like, you want to come with me? And this is literally Wednesday night. I get the phone call and he's like, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm putting my 2-week notice in. Taking the kids, we're packing up, we're going to Vegas and we're starting a company. And I was like, dude, there's no way. No way I can do this. And at that time, that's what I really believed. We both have daughters and sons the same age. I was more hung up on, bringing my daughter to Las Vegas. And that was kind of the stopping factor, which you get older and you realize and look back now, like, dude, wish I had done it different. But he went to Vegas, started this company, Intuitive. I think in the first 3 or 4 years, they really took off. And then every 3 months, I got a phone call from Ryan and Bacos, like, hey, you want to come work with us? You want to come work with us? And then my answer was always no. I'm like, I don't want to work for my friends. I'm going to make this work. I'm 1099. Things are going well. Well, the day Disney World closed during COVID was the change of my path, because I lost 40% of my customers within 48 hours of Disney World closing. And a lot was tied to that decision, because once they kind of closed down, that was like the final US is shutting down. So I got 40% of my clients pausing, canceling, killed the campaign. And then things got really interesting with my mentor and I, who I was really hoping grow the business. And at that time, Ryan and Vikas kept reaching out, and I tried to grind it for another 6 months after Disney closed, and things weren't turning around. So I was like, maybe I need to look at a different path. And then the timing of everything, after telling these guys no for 2 years, I get the great call, which is, hey, I was like, guys, if you're calling to ask me to work there, you know my answer. And they said, no, we're not looking to have you unemployed, but we're looking to maybe start a company with you. I was like, well, that's great. Elaborate. And so they were like, yeah, we want to start a SEO company. We want you to be the sister company to Intuitive. We'll invest in you. We're all in. And so we shook hands on a 3-way partnership for TruScaler based on that call. And that was 3 years ago, marking pretty much January of this year. And since then, the world's changed. We SEO for the first couple of years. And honestly, it was 2 years ago, I was ready to throw the towel in on SEO and everything. But then these guys breathed life into the opportunity of having my own company, be a sister company of a bigger company. And then the beautiful thing happened. AI came around in 2024, which was always around. It just wasn't as prevalent as it was. And then I was like, maybe there's something here. So mid to late 2024, I'm going to go figure out how AI plays a role in the SEO world. And here we are today. And then 2025 is where all the craziness happens. So yeah, kind of an interesting path, a lot of nodes, a lot of things. I believe everything happens for a reason. And it worked out that way. So I stick with that. That's my go-to. It all worked out. Everything happens for a reason. Here we are today. And now I'm talking about geo, and SEO is just a component of it in my mind as we move forward.
If you're listening and thinking, my team needs this, that's exactly why Coach Clark Leadership and Development exists. We partner with businesses, churches, and organizations that want practical leadership training, not theory, but tools leaders can use immediately. If you're responsible for developing people, let's talk soon. Visit CoachAClark.com. Right. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's always fun to look back, what if. And I know like one that I'm grateful for, COVID, is it really helped, I hate to say modernize the world, but it helped modernize the world. Like I had been using Zoom meetings forever, but nobody else would do it. Like I was, because being a recovering football coach, we had meetings, or we had to get together every Sunday at 2:00 to go over the game plan. And so we could put it up on the board and everybody could look at it. And I was like, guys, there are 3 of us that are driving from 45 plus minutes away. There's another 3 of us that are 30 minutes away. Like, why can't we just like hop on this thing called Zoom? And this is like 2014, 2015. I was like, it's great. I can meet with anybody around the world, share my screen. And they were like, no. Now everybody uses Zoom.
It's funny too, because I was one of those people like, man, this guy wants to do a screen share. This is really weird. And I think the first year of COVID, I was reluctant to embrace it because this COVID thing real is what's happening here, all this, this change and everything. And yeah, long story short is everyone was forced to embrace it or you couldn't do business. Yeah, I think that changed a lot of things on the digital side and just interacting like this. I prefer this and the phone over email still today now. But before COVID, I was a hide behind the scenes email kind of guy.
Yeah. No, and I mean, then I'll say like 2 stuff that came about that was good. Like prior to all that, like Zoom was, and I personally believe Zoom's still top dog when it comes to video conferencing. But like, and I would say like Teams was awful. Google Meets was awful.
Teams, yeah, Teams is still awful.
But they've upped their game. Like they've become less awful. Like, yeah, I could go on and on about the bad stuff on all those, but it forced people to come up. And like you said, AI, it's been around forever. Not forever, but nobody noticed it until 2024.
Yeah, because it didn't really have a brain before then. It was always there. It was always there fundamentally and theoretically, just did not have the brain power that it has today. So like ChatGPT was around 7 years ago, and we used to use that as a black box tool, like a hidden secret. Nobody knows about it. We're going to go generate content for customers. They're going to wonder how we generated so fast, but then realize the content was horrible. So back in the day, you still used it, but we had to have editors and writers that were cleaning up the AI content for us well before 2024. But yeah, it's amazing where it started and where it's at. And to use it in the beginning to see where it's at today, incredible.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw somebody talk about using ChatGPT in marketing. I was at a conference and this this lady was talking about using it for cosmetology, and I'm like, what is that thing? And well, make it do this. Like, what if I wanted this? And she was showing, I was like, this is cool. I got to start playing with this thing.
Yeah, it's like Google 1999, man. And I go back to that because I'm a nerd. So my first high school project was, people were writing papers in 1999. I was creating websites for my projects and doing demonstrations in the class for a website. In fact, I did one on the psychology of serial killers, which I have no idea how that got selected, but that's what got chosen for me. But yeah, I was using websites for school projects in high school and college for 99, 2000, 2001. So it's funny to see where things are. And people back then were like, this is a fad, Google's just another fad. And looking back at that, it's incredible that people even thought that. And I still run into people today that have no idea what AI is or geo or are not using a platform. I'm like, you're crazy. If you haven't used ChatGPT or whatever, pick your poison, if you will. You're missing out on a lot of technology. It's really kind of even changed the way I do business. I think it changed the way everyone does business. But I was a victim of my own worst enemy when it comes to overthinking, writing emails, and even as a CEO of a company. This is a funny story. Last week, I wrote an email to my other partners, investors, and I actually wrote it myself. So I was a little sad to hear this, but they wrote back to me and said, "Hey, dude, lay off the AI." And I was like, "Lay off the AI." I wrote that email myself. But they know that I write all my emails using ChatGPT, and I don't have it write it, but it gives me that foundation of what I want to say, but I can't put into words. But the funny thing was, these guys calling me out that I'm using AI to write emails to them, and I actually wasn't. So joking with my wife, I'm like, maybe I'm using AI too much, because if I sound like AI, that's interesting.
Well, it's scary because I know mine sounds like me. That when it writes stuff, because
right?
I mean, I got a book called ChatGPT Millionaire back in the end of 23, beginning of 24, because I was like, all right, I really got to understand this thing. And it was like, introduce yourself to it. Ask it what to ask you to get to know you. And I occasionally will do that. Like, hey, what do you need to know about me? It knows me better than I know me. It's crazy how
Definitely you better than you know you.
I was like, but then you had me kind of cracking up in 99 using Google. I'm like, I thought everybody used Ask Jeeves back in 99.
Oh gosh, I haven't heard that one in a long time. That's AOL days. That's the first chat AI platform.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that was some good stuff. I used to get in trouble a lot over the AIM, the instant messaging and the dial-up internet.
Yeah. I mean, I lived it and breathed it.
We want to take a quick moment to shout out today's premier sponsor, Vicky with Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership always starts with a strong foundation, and so does your home or office. Vicky and her team don't just cover floors, they help you step into excellence one plank, tile, or carpet at a time. And now, they are offering Hunter Douglas blinds, giving you the ability to set the tone, control the light, and create the perfect environment to lead from. Hubbard Flooring Studio, where strong foundations and bright visions begin. But I never thought to compare it to that, but it's very similar right now. Like you said, when all that, because people used to actually use Yahoo to look up stuff. Now everybody just Googles it, or they used to.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, people are still Googling, but they're transitioning fast. There's the all-in AI adopters. There's the hybrids like myself, which I'm forced to be a hybrid. Otherwise, I'd probably be all in on AI, but kind of attached to Google.
I like them both. I like you said, more of the hybrid because I want to see, because I don't fully trust everything yet that it says, just because I've had some bad AI info, the hallucinations and everything. And so I want to see what Google says, just because I've used it for so long. And so it kind of like a compare contrast, and then take whatever information I feel matches best what I want.
That's the smart way to do it. I tell people, like, especially, Google's Gemini AI overview, which has somehow became the Google Bible. They've been giving us 12 websites for 20 years. Now they give us one AI response, and that's supposed to be the response. Be careful with that one as well.
Yeah. Because I've caught that one. It's like, and when you click the show more and it's like information from 2015, I'm like, yeah, that's not right.
Exactly. You're always best to vet out your sources of information that you're collecting.
I'll say, I guess that's when I can tell my English teacher, hey, you were right. I would need to know this stuff.
Exactly. That's a whole nother segment.
Oh, I know. Look, I remember telling when I had to take keyboarding and they were forcing us to learn Microsoft Office. And I was like, nobody's going to use Microsoft Word or PowerPoint unless you're a teacher. I mean, nobody's going to use this Excel thing.
Yeah, I was, and I'm glad I took those courses, by the way. But I was not a fan. I was a computer nerd, but when I was forced to take the Excel programming, things like that, I was like, what am I doing? But now today, using Excel, I still use it with AI. Yeah, I still tell my kids, hang in there. Like, Dad, do I really have to use this stuff? I'm like, you need to understand it. I know AI's here. It'll do all the work for you, but if you understand how this stuff's built, it'll make you a little more valuable when AI goes down or if you don't have access to it. Even math, like I was not a math guy. And that's what Excel did all my math in high school for me.
Yeah. No, and I think you brought up a good point too, is that you got to learn, everybody's worried about AI taking over.
Oh, gosh.
But if you know how to make the AI work, it can't do your job for you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting place where with all the conspiracies with AI, is it going to replace my job? Is it not going to replace my job? I just tell people, rather than focus on what it might take from you, you should start embracing what it might be able to do for you. And think around, look around the corner a little bit. If it's going to, I know coders is a big one. They're all scrambling. Is AI going to code for everyone? We don't know. It hasn't been done yet. But why don't you embrace the coding platform from the AI side and then become one of the ones that controls the AI?
Yes. And that I'd heard one that, your success or mind frame, the importance of your mind frame. And it's based off of, if I were to put out the letters on where you put the space, NOWHERE.
Now here.
Is it now here or nowhere?
Exactly. It's now here.
Some people might put it nowhere.
Yeah. It's eye of the beholder, I guess.
But it was like one that I was recording with Caitlin earlier. She, we were talking about that. Are you the shoe salesman that shows up that says, hey, nobody wears shoes, let's get out of here? Or, hey, nobody wears shoes, send more.
Yeah, exactly. I like it.
Oh, man. And so, like, how do you go about that, focusing on all that? How do you go about helping your children use the AI and helping them get ahead of like the curve and embrace, I guess, the old school and new school?
That's a great one. Actually, I'm you could probably guess where my head's at, but I talk to my kids' teachers. I'm a believer of adopt it now. Use it the right way. So I tell my children, I know school has policies. I know there's a lot of gray and black and white areas. I tell my kids, I'll define this very easily for you. A tool is a tool. And this tool, in this case, use it wisely. If it's going to write your paper for you, I'm not okay with that. But if maybe it gives you the topics of the paragraphs you're going to write for your paper, I foresee that. That's okay with me. Getting a start on a paper is a hard thing, but if I can use ChatGPT to say, hey, I got to write this paper and it's on AP geography, can you give me 5 paragraphs that would outline my structure of my paper? That's a great way to use AI. And I think teachers are figuring this out now. And they're using AI checkers, which I laugh about that too. There's not a lot of credibility in this. In fact, I wrote a paper that did not pass the AI checker and said it was written by AI, but very, very as close, I'm very close to this whole AI thing, ChatGPT, using these, how they get used. So my kids listen to me every day. And in fact, we just had spring break. They're making a bingo card to make fun of Dad. on all these words he uses. And if he uses them, you get to check the bingo square. But no, I want my kids to use it. Same thing with social media. Do I want them scrolling on their phone all day? No, I don't. Do I want them to understand how social media works? Yes, I do. Do I want them to embrace certain aspects of it? Yes, I do. But there's the pros, the cons. But with AI, embrace it now. I mean, it's not going away. It's going to replace things. It's going to make things better. Just don't cheat. Don't use it don't make it do your job for you. And then my daughter will call me out. Well, Dad, I see it. Use it every day to write your emails and to create documentation for you. But it's like, but I gave it the brain. I gave it the information that I needed to create that document. You don't have this information to create that paper. So use it wisely, embrace it, use it as a supporting structure tool, give you outlines, just don't have it write the paper for you. As long as they adhere to those types of rules, I'll always back them if a teacher says, hey, was this written by AI? No, it wasn't. But did they use it to outline, structure things? Yes, they did. But I could tell pretty quickly if my kid, because I read their papers before they go out, and AI uses a lot of keywords. And as deep as I am, I know what those words are. So those big adjectives or adverbs that they like to use in there, if I see that kind of stuff, I'll be like, no, go rewrite that. My daughter also brought one to me where she used it to create the paper. And she said, Dad, I'm not going to copy this, but what if I have it create the paper and I go put it all into my own words? And that's the gray area for me right now. I don't know the answer to that, because it did all the thinking for you. You're rewriting it in your own words. So that I'll leave that at the gray area. That's to be determined.
Right. And I do agree. I think it's an excellent tool. I mean, like I've told everybody with my show, I always record the main episode first. But then what it does is Riverside, because we record all this on riverside.fm, it gives me a summary that I can take and throw into ChatGPT and say, hey, I need to create an open and close. Give me some ideas. And then boom, there we go. All right. And go through and create from there. Here's what they're wanting me saying, how I should open and how I should close. That versus having to, when I first got started, sit there and think, like, how do I go and introduce Dustin? It's great that it just does all that for me. I don't have to remember what was said.
That's exactly it.
Hey, if you've liked what you've seen so far, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. That way we can continue to bring you great guests and great content like you've seen so far. Now back to the episode. Or even, like you said, just coming up with ideas. That's, I mean, how many people use it to, hey, I'm going to go to vacation in Denver. Where are the top 5 places I should go visit? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
No, not at all. And like I said, if you're putting in the work and you're having to put on the final touches, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I guess we'll see how this moves forward, but I foresee it just getting more and more adoption in the education world as a whole, because it's not going away. You will have to figure it out, and you will have to put the rules and the guidelines around it and teach these kids how to use it properly. But even imagine a writer that's writing a book or has wrote best-selling novels. You don't think they're using it when they get writer's block? 100%. And that's what it's for. You put in some effort, you're stumped, now you need some ideas. Embrace it, use it for that. But if it's writing the book for you, then that's on you.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool too. Like you can use it for editing. You're like, hey, you just boom. All right, I wrote this. Tell me, is there anything that's grammatically incorrect or what have you?
Yeah, don't get me started on grammar and punctuation. Because that's where I tell my kids, I'm like, if you want to write your paper and dump it in and you want it to fix your spellings and your grammar, I know some people, I get trolled over this one. I'm okay with that. Because in this world today, right, like handwriting, do I really want my kid to be a professional cursive writer? I don't know. Is anyone even writing anymore? I don't know. But yeah, that's you could open that one up for discussion. That could be a whole nother segment on that one.
Well, I mean, I still write. I actually got my.
Yeah, you take notes. I take notes too, but
I got my journal right here. I use it in between episodes, write down my thoughts, go from there. But I'm not sending this to you.
I just always struggle. I was my biggest struggles in high school was not just math, but like grammar. Right, I could write, and I write like I talk, and then it comes down to grammar, punctuation. Do I believe in it? Yes, you should have the foundation. Is it the all be all? Like, I feel like my kids have a pretty good foundation for grammar, punctuation. But if they're going to be graded on a period here, apostrophe there, I don't know. I don't know where that's all going. But I'm okay with my kids cleaning up a paper to grab that last little comma here type deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was one. My kids were asking me like about grades and what have you through elementary school, and I'm like, look, I have a very strong distaste for penmanship because that kept me off the A honor roll many a times.
Yeah, my penmanship is still that of a fourth grader, by the way.
I mean, you don't need it whenever you can just do this all day.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I argue with my kids all the time. But the English aspect, grammar, being able to speak well, I do believe in that. And so my kids are like, do I need this? Yeah, you do. If you want to be able to talk like dad on these calls, or you want to be confident when you talk, then yes, this is why it's still in the school system. It's not going away. And there's, even college, which my kids challenge me on today. Like, college, do I really need it? I can go on that one all day too, but I'm a big believer in whether you know what you want to do or not, the core foundation of what we learn makes us better. Reading a book makes us better. Being able to write an email that sounds like you're a bit of an intellectual, or, you sound smart. You need it. So I always stick with the foundational stuff. But yeah, penmanship and writing, I don't know, Aaron. I'll leave that one open for debate. Yeah, the last time I wrote more than 3 sentences in one shot.
I think it's important though, like you said, that we do talk. Like, how you talk is how people perceive you. 100%. So I mean, if I be talking like this all the time, y'all gonna be like, what in the world this dude be talking about? Exactly. Like, he ain't too smart. Yeah. But I mean, that's the first way that people see you most of the time is a phone interview or a Zoom interview, not necessarily like, how did you do AI or how did you send an email? People are looking at that, but they're wanting to know, how do you sound? Because if you sound intelligent, we can work with that.
Yeah, well, especially in interviews and things like, there's a lot of things that these kids don't think about. That's the baseline, whether you know it or not, and you won't know it till you're older, which I always use the line like, life's kind of wasted on the youth. You can play both sides of the coin on that one, but that's a good example of it. I wish my English teacher today could see how well I progressed with my grammar and my speech. Maybe not my cursive or my penmanship, but I think she'd be very proud of me today, because I struggled like no other in high school writing papers, not because I didn't know or didn't read the learning or the lessons. It's just because I couldn't translate onto paper in the way that they needed to see it translated. She used to always tell me, she's like, Dustin, your thoughts, I love the way you think. And it translates, your brain translates on paper, but that's not how a paper is written. So yeah, but yeah, if she saw me today, I think she'd be very proud.
I think so too. And one that like I crack up, because like I always tell my mom, it's like, you always told me my mouth would never get me anywhere but in trouble.
Yeah, I heard that one a lot. Yep. And I didn't graduate college right away. And my kids know my life story. So that's always open for debate, because both my kids are on the fence, right? Do I want to go right after high school? Do I take a year off? Dad, do I even need to go? And I always, I will always stand behind, yes, I would like you to go to college. Whether it's a D1, D2, D3 community college, don't care about any of that. In fact, I'd probably advocate for a community college if you don't know what you want to do, but 100% believe in the foundation of school education. And it's, for me, going back to college 7 years after I failed the first couple of times was interesting, because as I grew up, I actually found out, I'm like, holy crap, I enjoy school now. This is really crazy. As I was older, and that goes back to the life's kind of wasted on the youth. I couldn't stand school in high school. I was a B student, went to college, chose other things besides going to class. And then like 27, 28 comes along, and I had an opportunity once again by my employer, who thought I had a degree and hired me. They thought I had a degree. They didn't look it up. And then when they offered me a director's title, like, holy crap, this guy doesn't have a degree. So they offered for school. And I hopped all over it. I was excited and I embraced it. And the difference between college when you embrace it versus when you're forced is night and day. I will still push my children to go right away and I will help them. But yeah, like I said, life's wasted on the youth, many instances of it. But that's all one of them for me. And now I love learning. I can't get enough of it. Never, go back and talk to 21-year-old Dustin. Never in 1,000 years would when I think I'm sitting in this chair talking to you, B, sitting here telling how much I like to learn.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. My wife says that all the time too. So she went to cosmetology school after we got done having kids. Started early. So, we were 19 and 20 when we had our oldest. And so once she finally got the opportunity to go back to school to finish cosmetology school, she was 26, 27, 28, somewhere in that age range. And she was like, man, I don't get how these 18 and 19-year-old kids just can't show up and do the work. Like, that's all they got to do. Like, this is awesome. This is great. But you don't know at 18, 19, you're not smart enough to figure it out.
Nope. And, here we sit today talking about it, right? If we all took all the advice from the elders and listened to all the people that tried to coach us when we were our teenagers, a lot of us would have progressed a lot faster in life. But this just seems like life's course. Like, my children are the same dang way. I'll try to give them my 2 cents and say, hey, you're about to fail. You want to listen to dad? And they'll listen to me and then they'll go and fail. So I learned quickly, like, all right, I guess, we could avoid these things. They don't want to avoid them. And sometimes human nature is you just got to go fail. And then you come back and like, dang, dad, I wish I would have listened to you. And you're like, yeah, I know, but this is the world we live in. And like I said, life is wasted on the youth.
Mm-hmm. And they know. I think they listen, they hear, they just don't want to apply.
Yep. They're unsure, right? Does dad really know what he's talking about? Has dad really gone and failed on this? Like, there's skepticism of a parent that has that kids give you. It's not going away. Not to mention we made life easier for our generation of kids. Way too easy.
I agree with that. I think that's the thing too. I don't think they want to believe that we know and have went through that, because it's kind of like a weird, like, up until like 10 years old, your kids believe you do no wrong. And then it's like 11, 12, 13, like maybe, they might have lied to me about a Santa Claus or something.
That's a good one though. That's where you start to lose the trust.
And then, it's like, okay, from like 13 to like 18, 19, 20, like, yeah, mom and dad are idiots. They don't know what's up.
Yep. Or believe the stories, I tell my kids get sick of hearing this, but, and shame on my wife and I for giving our kids everything that they have today. Because I grew up with nothing. And I still embrace that. I think to myself all the time, like, dang, man, you grew up poor. You grew up with nothing. I had a really good time as a kid. That nothing didn't feel like nothing back then. But then, you make this big mistake when you grow up with nothing and you have kids, and all you want to do is give them everything you freaking never had. And I was advised, even this is in my late 20s, early 30s, and then my mentors are advising me, you shouldn't do this, Dustin. So I guess we still do what we were doing when we were teenagers, even when we're a little older, whether we believe it or not. But I did it. I gave them everything they have today. And now when I tell them stories about, I used to live in this trailer park, like, Dad, are you lying to us? Like, I don't see it's like, because you never saw, because I overcame all that. And you guys have what you have today because of all that. But kind of shame on me. Kind of wish I would have stayed in a trailer and just gave them a kind of like a Truman Show life before I let them go into the real house.
Yes.
But I think it's natural for us to want to do what we couldn't do or what our parents couldn't do.
I think so too. I mean, it's been said, you might have heard this, I don't know if you have or not, but it's said that a father is truly the only person in the world who wants to see you do better than he did.
100%. I feel like all parents feel that way. And if I tell my kids that, and whether they believe it or not, but yeah, I think that's a fundamental for all parents.
If you're watching and not ready for full organizational training, but you want to grow personally, I'd like to invite you to join our Leadership Multiplier School community. It's a community of positive, growth-minded leaders who are serious about developing influence and helping others do the same. If leadership matters to you, you belong in that room. Let's get back to the show. Yeah. And so as we're kind of starting to wind down a little bit, one thing that I like to ask everybody is, I believe that all leaders are readers. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are learners. They're constantly working on their craft and how to get better at what it is that they do. And so what would be one book that you would recommend that all leaders or entrepreneurs read?
Yeah, I know. So that's a great question, Aaron. And to be open, honest, and direct here, the great thing about this is before I started this company, I hadn't read a book in, I don't know, 20 years, maybe. Not to shine light on the bad side, but as I grew as a leader in the first year of starting this company, which I'm going to be a little long-winded here, is reading. And I didn't feel like a CEO right when I started this company. You got this title, investors came in, helped me start this. It took me a year and a half to feel like a CEO. Didn't even know what that meant, or an owner of a company. And one of the things I embraced 2 years ago, after not reading for 20 years, was exactly what you just said, Aaron. So I've challenged myself. I also got ADD, and I used to use that as an excuse as to why I couldn't read. But knowing the challenges I have in my mind and what I need to do when I sit down and read a book, put myself in the right environment, I'm embracing reading fully. I also was anti-fiction books, big time. This is where my wife changed it, because I used to tell my wife, who reads, 30 books a year, plus books a year, why don't you go read about how to invest? Why don't you go read how to make our lives better? And she said, why don't you go and read a nonfiction book? Because you keep trying to read these better yourself books and it doesn't seem to be working. And it's kind of a joke back and forth. But prior to that, I did read a book called Mindset, very popular one. And that's probably it's one I'm trying to get my children to read. My daughter and my son are both accelerated readers. And I'm still pushing this book. I'm not going to give up, because my challenge with my children is exactly mindset. My son, shame on me, genetically, he has some of the bad things I gave him, which thinks he could be good at everything and anything the day he starts it. And there's a lot of things that I have been good at physically right when I do it, but just okay at it. And then I read this book, Mindset. One of the segments in this book that got me the most was the one about Michael Jordan, where he gets interviewed a lot. People say, like, you're the natural, man. It's a gift. It was natural. And he says, I'm going to stop you right there. Everything I have today was not because I had a gift. It wasn't because I was naturally talented. And if you know about his story, he was cut from high school teams. He was benched. Was not a natural NBA basketball player. What he did is when he found out he didn't make the team, is he went and started practicing 7-8 hours a day, every single day. And he did not stop until he could make that cut. And then he never stopped. Once he made that cut, he never stopped training. And it goes back to, I think that's the fundamental of everything. Whether you're good out of the gates, whether you do have a gift or not, if you don't practice, if you don't put in the time, then you should not have the expectation that you should be a professional. And Michael Jordan said it the best, like, don't ever call me a natural. And I also think he said it discounts all the work I did. And it really pisses me off when people go around saying this guy was gifted, naturally talented, went to the NBA, and there's all this story that was left out of the blood, sweat, and tears that he put in. And I can attest to that as well, because, embracing what you read, the day we stop learning is the day we stop moving forward and we progress in life. So the other thing, mindset all day, books like Let Them. There's one book that is Un-F Yourself. I don't know if you know about that one. Also has a lot of value because it plays into the mindset. Let Them changes the way you think and expectations you have around people. Un-F Yourself, that says it all right there in the title. But the last book I just read was Project Hail Mary. It was my first fiction book, because I took my wife's advice that I don't always have to be learning or better myself or read books that are mentorship or self-improvement. And it was a breath of fresh air reading a book that she found for me. You're into space, you're into nerdy things, maybe you should try this. First book that I've ever embraced and couldn't put down when I read it. And I just went and saw the movie last week. Best book, best movie I've ever seen.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to ask, how was the movie? Because that's one of my beliefs is if it's a good book, they'll turn it into a movie and it'll be even better.
I think my wife will argue the book was better. I
I
think
know they will.
better in many certain ways, but they leave out certain details in the book that you have to create your own image for. I think the movie did a fantastic job of filling in the voids of what they couldn't show you or what you think you had the mental picture of. But yeah, I think people are split on this one. I think most of the people that read the book I know still stick with the book. I think the movie is fantastic, especially to see the character Rocky come to life.
Well, I mean, I wish they would do something like with more, instead of taking a book and making it a movie, like, what was I can't think of the book series name, but they did it with Game of Thrones. And instead of making it just hey, here's a 1 hour blip that they took out of, they like made the book and a TV show or a TV series. I wish they would do that out of like good books, like, your Harry
I wish
Potter.
they would do that with all good books and all good movies.
Yes.
You're exactly right. A movie will never summarize everything. And saying that Project Hail Mary, that could have been a part 1, part 2, very easily.
Possibly a part 3. I don't know. I hadn't read Project Hail Mary yet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of extending all that stuff as far as you can, especially when I'm into it.
Yeah. And so last question I always ask everybody, because you took my other one of like, what are you currently reading? Or maybe you just finished. Like, this is my show, Dustin. You can't steal my thunder, man.
Sorry.
I'm going to go cry about it. Probably not. But.
Well, I'm here for you.
So last question I always ask everybody is, what's something that I should have asked you that maybe I didn't ask you?
All kinds of things. And we could talk about the comics behind me. We could even talk about this little map that you never heard me talk about. A lot of personal stuff. Like I use the word I'm a nerd all the time, but if it doesn't say how nerdy I am behind me, then I can elaborate on that all day.
I was about to say, so tell me about the cool nerd stuff behind you.
Yeah, I'm a big comic book collector. In fact, I just got in big trouble this weekend because I went over my comic book budget with my wife. But I love comics. I love stories. I love Marvel. I love treasures. I love the idea of treasure hunting. And comics all kind of fall into that. I started collecting comics at a young age. My parents got separated. When they got separated, all my stuff disappeared as a child. So, probably collecting sports cards and comic books for the first 15 years of my life. And then my parents separated, and during that separation, there was a move, and all of my stuff disappeared. So when I got a little older, got a job, started making some money, married my wife, got a house, and I told her there's something that's going to happen that you may not you may not agree with, which is I'm going to go get my collection back. And I have this mental picture of all the stuff I ever owned. I actually did achieve this probably from 2007 to 2015. I pretty much bought and collected back every single thing that I ever had as a child. And it was something I was a fixate on because I had it as a child. It was taken away from me. And I'm going to recreate those memories. And I recollected everything I have, which you can't see. I have a whole nother room my wife despises me over, which is my collectibles. So if I'm not doing geo or SEO, if I'm not working, I'm with the family. If I'm not with the family, I'm nerding out on this stuff all day, every day.
Oh, that's awesome. And dude, I love the determination. And so if anybody wants to find out more, like, or connect with you, find out more about the geo or SEO, TruScaler, or just to connect with Dustin himself, how do they get in touch with you?
You just reach out. You go to TruScaler.com. You can contact us that way. Reach out by phone number. It's probably the best way to get a hold of us. We're here all day, every day, whether it's AI or people.
And the world may never know. Kind of like the number of licks to get to the center of Tootsie Pop.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one.
Boom. Awesome.
Well, I know you like to end your show your way, Aaron. I like to end everything I talk to people with, especially when it comes to mentoring or coaching, is probably one of the most biggest things that stuck with me my whole life. And this is about 15 years ago. I heard this mentor passed away 2 or 3 years ago, but I tell my kids this every day. There's two quotes. You are who you hang with. And if you want some more detail on that, you're the average of the 5 closest people to you. I'll let you guys do the math.
Come on now. I love it. I love it. Well, Dustin, I appreciate you hopping on and sharing with us. We'll definitely be in touch and have to do this again.
Love it, Aaron. Appreciate you having me on the show today. Hope we could have a segment 2, go a little more in depth.
If this episode added value to you, here are your next steps. If you lead an organization and want to develop strong leaders, connect with us at Coach Clark Leadership and Development. We have a free 30-minute connection discovery call. If you're a growth-minded leader looking for community and accountability, join Leadership Multipliers. Either way, don't just consume leadership, commit to it. Man, what a powerful conversation. If there is one thing you should take away from this episode, it's this. The future is already here, and the people who learn how to adapt, learn how to use these tools, and stay curious are the ones who are going to win. Dustin didn't just talk about AI at a high level. He gave you a roadmap for how to actually start using it in your life, your business, and your leadership right now. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen to this episode and move on. Take one thing you've learned from today and go apply it immediately. Whether it's using ChatGPT in your workflow, thinking differently about search, or simply committing to learning something new and taking action. If you got value from today's episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to take your leadership and personal growth to the next level, connect with me on social media or via my website. All that information is listed below. I'd love to be able to work with you directly. And remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep leading, keep learning, keep connecting, and I'll see you on the next episode, Clark Connection Podcast. Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection Podcast. If today's episode added value to you, do me a favor, follow the show and share it with someone who needs it. You can connect with me at my website, coachaclark.com, or on social media at Coach A. Clark. All the links are in the description. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep connecting.